Hare Krishna, devotees. Thank you for joining today's morning class. Let us begin our prayers. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadesh Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today this some 18 minutes are left in this lecture today. So we will complete this lecture today and then we will open for the discussion. I just play this.
Can we say that these 7 steps comes in the platform of an intellectual platform like that? Can we say that these 7 steps comes on the intellectual platform? Understanding in this way, is it like intellectual platform or like that? And if it is so, then how that transformation of intellectual to spiritual or devotional platform, how does that take place?
How do you go from this platform to the devotional platform?
Yes, Maharaj. If these 7
steps... The conclusion is, Krishna has done all of this, I surrender to him. And actually, a little secret about this purport is it's building a relationship with Super Soul. Because it's all about, by taking help from the intelligence, one can understand this and one can understand that. But where's that intelligence coming from? It's coming from Super Soul. We just got tricked. Transcendental trick. To bring us closer to Super Soul. But if one has properly taken help from intelligence, then one surrenders. That's the demonstration or proof that one has done so. The proof is in our surrender. You okay? You're getting restless, huh? We're almost done. Okay? Anything else? Okay. You sure? Oh, I have something in my lap here. I'm sorry. Go for it. You got the microphone.
The process of devotional service requires that we have to surrender and submit. Whereas the other process, where the speculative process.
The other process is what?
There he makes use of his own strength to try to understand things.
Based upon higher understandings.
Yes.
Not just upon surrender.
Yes.
It's more soothing to the ego.
Yes. Now in the process of devotional service, like we try to be dependent on the Supreme Lord for all things. But there are 2 things. One is if we have a material conception, we try to depend for a different purpose, that is for fulfilling our desires. And second is there is a spiritual motivation for depending on Krishna, because even for a spiritual goal also I have to depend.
I have a hard time. Do it without the microphone.
We are depending on Krishna for everything.
Yeah, we're depending upon Krishna for everything. For Krishna's mercy.
Now, there are two things. One is impure stage of consciousness where...
One is the which kind of consciousness?
In our impure consciousness.
Impure consciousness.
We have a mixed sort of desires.
We have mixed desire.
So, we are depending on Krishna for material, for fulfillment of material desires, and one may have that consciousness. So, the question is, like the cultivation of qualities, we have said we are depending on Krishna for pure motivation, not for anything else.
Okay.
So, how do we...
How do we do what?
We don't depend on the Lord for our fulfillment of material desires.
You can do that too. That's not the higher platform, but one can do that too. I'm not sure what you're asking. That's depending upon Krishna. So many people go to Krishna with so many slips in their hand. He doesn't say go away. But that's not the platform of love. We're being trained in the platform of love to come to the higher desire, the position of purity. I'm not sure what you're asking.
Because my feeling is that when we are depending too much, because since we are depending on Krishna, we are depending on the devotees of Krishna. That is why we are depending on Krishna. So, we may be depending on, we may become a parasite, a sort of dependence for our material things also. So, how do we have a pure motivation for?
That's much better.
The dependence on Krishna is through the dependence on devotees of Krishna. We are not dependent.
I like all the things that you're saying. I just don't understand what your question is.
The question is, how do we not depend on Krishna for an impure motivation? Like,
Well, you have to become free from material motivation. But that doesn't happen just by wishing it to happen. It requires the purification of devotional service itself. And gradually, that becomes washed away or cleansed. And the training, while that's happening, the training that you're very clearly expressing, you're receiving, is to awaken and strengthen that higher aspiration. The higher aspiration for purity, for not going to Krishna for things. And what happens when that happens, when that consciousness awakens? Krishna takes care of our things. Our hankering subsides, and at the same time, Krishna takes care of those things. Because he's taking care of those things anyways. Just listening to Prabhupada say that for the materialist, how many chapatis can they eat? They've got their quota, 4 chapatis, whatever it is. So they're thinking economic development. And the pious fruitive worker is thinking, I'll go to God and pray to Him for my 4 chapatis. And the devotee is thinking, I don't have to ask God for my 4 chapatis. He'll make that arrangement. I don't have to think about it. I have to think about serving Him. And that's our life in devotion. And the 4 chapatis come. Or whatever it is that we require. It's just a higher motivation and a higher consciousness. Now go the other direction. Supposing somebody doesn't have that training, or they have the opportunity for training, but they don't have that higher consciousness. Sarvakama. Tivrena bhakti yogena. Follow? By okay, like Dhruva Maharaj. I want a kingdom. I want a big time kingdom. I want a kingdom. Sarvakama. Tivrena bhakti yogena. And he got on the other side of the desire for the kingdom. Not just on his own effort, but on the mercy of Narada. And he knew it. So, you're getting the training following the line of Rupa Goswami, Anyavi Lashatu Shunyam. Jnana Karma Dhyanavrtam. That's the training you're getting. Because that's the higher, right off, right away. Training. It's mercy. But does that mean that someone who doesn't get that training, like Dhruva, he was advised by his mother and by Narada, give up this motivation, get back mentality, give it up. He didn't give it up. Even from the lower Sarvakama position, he got on the other side of the desire. So there's a low road and a high road. You follow what I'm saying? See, you just take shelter of the training that you're getting. The instructions, the instructor, the message of pure devotion. Take shelter there. You're being specifically trained to be able to get on the other side of your material desires just by the strength of that spiritual understanding and the spiritual force of the purity of that message. That can carry you to the other side. It works. You see it around you working. Those that take it very seriously. Okay? But it's not that, Dhruva Maharaj didn't make it. He wasn't prepared to go the high road. Am I addressing your question? I hope I understood your question. Okay. There's two written ones. You said Acharya Upasana and Krishna Ekasharana only can protect from material perplexity while on this path, endeavoring to practice instruction of Guru. Undesirably, dryness of heart appears and so-called devotion activity becomes mechanical. Kindly tell the reason and how to overcome it. The reason is for so many lifetimes, years and years and years and lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes, we've been turning our attention away from Krishna, and now we're trying to turn our attention toward Krishna, and our hearts are hard from that such long period of misuse of our free will. That's why. And what to do? Be patient and continue faithfully turning your attention to Krishna. Bless you. Stay in the association of devotees that have faith and soft hearts, and faith will grow in your heart and your heart will soften. Canto 1, Chapter 15. The Pandavas retire timely. Text 41. This is very specific. While executing our occupational duty, sadhana, and services, I understand that the feelings of insignificance are very important in transforming the heart. Please give some ways for practicing these feelings, cultivating these feelings. Well, I'll respond by giving an answer that Prabhupada gave. I heard this happened in New York, but Prabhupada gave the same answer also in Los Angeles to the temple president of New York and the temple president of Los Angeles. The narration that I've heard many times is, in the morning, Prabhupada would go for morning walks. And one time he was going for a morning walk right in Manhattan in the Lower East Side. And even the Lower East Side, there's big, tall buildings, and they were walking along. And the temple president, Brahmananda, big body and powerful devotee and very much respected leader within Krishna consciousness, said, Prabhupada, I have so much service and I'm given so much respect by the devotees. It's very hard to not become proud. How can I feel myself humble and insignificant? Prabhupada put his cane in the sidewalk and said, so he started in the spiritual world. In the vastness of the spiritual sky, there is one planet named Krishna Loka. And in that Krishna Loka, there's countless living entities who are engaged in unlimited varieties of loving relationships with Krishna. That Krishna Loka planet is situated in the spiritual sky where there's innumerable Vaikuntha planets, and in one portion of that vast spiritual sky, there's the Mahatattva. And in that Mahatattva, there's Mahavishnu, an expansion of Krishna, who resides there in the milk ocean, the causal ocean. And from him, the pores of his body, countless universes are streaming out as he exhales. And in those universes, one of the smallest of the universes is this universe in which we're situated, where there's the predominating personality, Lord Brahma, who has 4 heads. And in that vast, although smallest amongst all of the universes, vast universe, there's so many planets. And amongst those so many planets, there's one in this solar system called the Earth planet. And on that Earth planet, there are 7 continents. And amongst the 7 continents, there's this continent of North America. And in North America, there's one country called the United States. In the United States, there's one state called New York State. And in New York State, there's one city called New York City. And there's so many millions of persons living in New York City. And so many streets in New York City, and here we are standing on one of those streets, and you're asking me how you can think of yourself as insignificant. Think who is Krishna, and you can understand you're insignificant. And to be covered by the misconception of how significant I am is such an embarrassment for the soul. And we're wearing it in the form of this material body. It's simply an embarrassment of the soul. We're 1/10,000th the size of the tip of a hair in size, and we're thinking ourselves so significant. We're totally dependent, materially and spiritually, and we're thinking we're so significant. It's the paradise of a fool. And when we're in the company of Krishna through the medium of devotional service, it becomes very easy to not only understand but to feel our insignificance. If we execute our devotional service very sincerely, then realization of our insignificance becomes very natural and very easy. So I'm going to end there. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And we're going to complete the chapter. Shukadeva Goswami is concluded.
Hare Krishna. So we come to the end of this lecture. We have one question open, answer to the question open from yesterday, which Chanakesha Prabhu asked, and all the devotees nicely shared their points. And Shamkund Prabhu, we would request request to hear from you. You are there, Prabhu, on call?
I'm there. I think it was a question was asked by Ashok Prabhu. Ashok Prabhu, can you restate the question, Prabhu, from yesterday?
Prabhu, this question was started from Chanakesha Prabhu, then Prabhu added one more question.
Okay.
So,
okay. Can you add both of them together and tell? Or
yeah, maybe
yes,
Chanakesha.
Okay, yes. Go ahead.
Chanakesha Prabhu, just go ahead with the question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, that question is started with why people are able to grasp few very properly and some may not be able to properly grasp the things with respect to spiritual things. So that is the question, Prabhu.
Okay.
Thank you. And I think Ashok Prabhu took it from here and he told the same thing in the context of intelligence. Is that right?
Yes.
I asked that Prabhu, like how we can develop the strong, because all the devotees shared through strong desire. If we desire the Krishna, then automatically we will get. So that way, how can we develop the strong desire? And Yugal Krishna Prabhu answered, yeah, through association, like how you are associating, the same way we will be in the same page. So he answered somewhat, Prabhu. I think, yeah.
I'll take it in some ways here. I hope you can bear with me as I go through it in a particular way. For those of you who'd like to take notes, maybe you can take notes. I haven't prepared a PPT because I didn't get time for it. But there are multiple points here, Prabhu, Chanakesha Prabhu especially. Some people are able to grasp, others are not able to grasp so well. So when you say grasp, it means both knowledge and intelligence. Is that correct, Chanakesha Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. The first and foremost thing, the underlying first principle here is, you didn't mean that way, but I'm just saying it for the sake of completeness. We try to grasp things, or we try to understand, or we try to discriminate, or we try to judge sometimes things or happenings around us or people around us, so that we, ideally from a spiritual perspective, we serve. Unfortunately, we only know competition. That is, how I can show that I have more value than the other person. How I can show that I already knew this. And we come up and say, hey, I knew this already, or we try to add 10 more points to say how I know it better than you. So, service is transformed or projected onto the realm of me, mine, how I am better. That's one problem in general. So having said that, the whole goal of our whatever we are discussing now is that we should not get into that arena that I have to show myself to be great, I have to bring value for myself, etc. And the reason I'm saying this is innately everybody is trying to bring some value for themselves. But the purpose of a spiritual path is how can I bring something of value to people around me, to devotees around me, to acharyas around me, and finally to Krishna. That circle has to become bigger. It cannot be the small me circle. That's just the basic sanity for our discussion. Okay. Having said that, then comes the next part. To grasp something, ideally, or to be intelligent enough, one has to be aware. And awareness is being attentive, and there is also an emotional aspect of this awareness. Many Indians, maybe it's most of us also, but many Indians grow up in a culture of being spoon fed. We are told what to do, and we do exactly what we are said to be done. We may be not happy with what is being told to do, but we end up doing it. At least people in my generation were like that, and it's slowly changing these days. That's okay. But there is one aspect which has not changed much between then and now. Uh, way back, way back in India, somewhere in India, even between 1900, almost up to 1960, 70, maybe 80 also. I think so. Maybe it's sometime till 1990 also, maybe. The way children were taught in schools in general was there is a topic, the teacher would explore various aspects of the topic, the children would have to make notes. Somewhere around 90s, the culture became very competitive. And in that competitive culture, everybody's outcome was judged on the basis of how much they are going to get, how much marks they're going to get, which college they're going to go, etc. And therefore, what came about was a guidebook culture. The guidebook culture is tell me a question and tell me the answer. For that question, I will know what is the answer. The objective is not to know what else is around it. It is just to do something and get out of it. There's a goal that has to be achieved. To achieve that goal, how much ever is required, that same thing we will have. So this guidebook culture effectively killed the awareness of an individual to see what's happening around him or her, how to do, how to process things. And that's a severe handicap for many people. So, in other words, I'm saying that poor learning choices or poor educational mechanisms or very bad educational means in childhood impact even in adulthood. How does it impact even in adulthood? In the way it impacts is a little different in the sense that there at childhood, it was not about choice. Do something to get out and do it. Get out of it and achieve something. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the pause here. The very same thing we bring sometimes into our own spiritual life. And the way we bring it into our spiritual life is that we do not want to make choices. Pardon me? What is it?
Nothing, Guru. Please continue. Somebody muted.
So how does it happen? Or before I come to the choice part, please hold on to this choice part before we come on to that. In contrast, when we see to a good extent in the Western world, the good thing there is education there is reflective. We study something and the people are taught to reflect on it. they are asked to write essays on it, because writing makes something go deeper into a person's life. And whether you like it or not, it's maybe a little controversial to say this also, that Western people become more emotionally aware. Why? Because in their culture, sooner or later, there is this boy girl attraction. And when there's boy girl attraction, they are supposed to date. So the boy has to woo the girl, or the girl has to woo the boy. So they become emotionally aware. And in our case, we, in the recent past 50, 100, I don't know, maybe 150 years also or so, we have been taught to set aside emotions. And so we don't become emotionally aware. So we are not aware, or the first point that I had said about the guidebook culture is that we are not reflecting things that is happening in the world, that is just at one level of intelligence, but even emotionally also, we are subdued set of people. And therefore, when we become adults, it becomes very tough for us to um, either evaluate what's happening in front of us, or to be emotionally be present somewhere. It's a reflection of what happens in our childhood, and it takes a lot of time to come out of it. In other words, survival has made this reflective mood to go away continuously. And the survival mode has made it as me-centeredness. That's one part of it. Plus, the other fact here is, even to be emotionally aware, we need to have an arsenal, or we need to have the tools or the techniques for it. And what is it for us to be emotionally aware? And you may say, Shyamakund, why are you talking about emotionally aware? I'm talking about spiritually aware. The reason coming into emotional awareness is that emotional awareness is a pedestal or a stepping stone for spiritual awareness. A person who is not emotionally aware will most likely not be able to be spiritually aware too. That's the reason I'm speaking about this emotional awareness. So many people have a problem with being emotionally aware. There's one small problem there. They're able to have some feelings, but they're not able to communicate those feelings. In other words, they are limited by their vocabulary. And partially it's because in childhood, we were taught English or Hindi or whatever language you speak. That is not important. It's mathematics is important, science is important. These subjects are not at all important. And if you look at it, at the way we read scriptures, either you take the Bhagavatam or the Ramayana or Mahabharata, it's all about words. It's about narration, because words build the world around us. It's important to have a good command over the language. And in many cases, for most of us, it is that in order for us to be aware, we need to know how to sometimes even express it. And we have to go back to the basics, sometimes improve our vocabulary too. That's one thing. Having said this is all what is there in the past. But there is one problematic thing which many of us face. Many times when we come to a spiritual movement, we tend to go in a particular direction, which is, you tell me what is the ultimate thing. Okay, there is God, there is a kingdom of God, fine. And our goal is to go to the kingdom of God, fine. So tell me what steps you have to do. Okay, and the steps, somebody will say, you wake up in the morning, you chant so many rounds, follow the four regulative principles, get initiated, get a name, continue doing this, and at the end of your life, at the time of death, God will come and take you to the kingdom of God. That's what many people think. And in this process, one need not be aware about too much about scriptures or being intelligent, etc. Just do things like a conveyor belt. There is a sequence of things to be done, and you do it, and the outcome is guaranteed. Nothing else is required. Many people think this is the way we have to go in a spiritual path. in effect, what people are doing here is that they want to make a choice, say once in a lifetime, and repeat making those choices continuously for the rest of their life, which is I have to make a choice of chanting every day. So every day I chant, right? And in doing so, we try, the intention for some of them who do go on this path here is they're effectively turning off one's intelligence. They want to follow somebody because you tell me what to do and I will do it. And why? Why do people want to do that way? Because I say, I don't want to keep thinking every day. It's a burden on my head. It's a mental burden, sometimes emotional burden. I'll make a choice once. And I know I have to just repeat making that choice every day. And give me small things. Don't give me big things to do. And with that mentality, people actually find that freedom is burdensome. So when freedom is burdensome, just give me set of rules so that uh, I will go back to the spiritual world. There, when I'm liberated, let me have freedom. Right now, I don't want to make choices. Choices are very tough to do in life. In other words, what happens here is this turning off of one's intelligence, this awareness, is actually the result of a person wanting to shed this burdensome responsibility for internal change and instead shift it onto the shoulders of a guru, an acharya, a leader, somebody. You told me, right? You tell me what to do, and I will do that. So this is where when we find responsibility to be burdensome and making choices burdensome, then we get into this. So, if you note it, I am relating this awareness and intelligence to choices, because what does intelligence mean? Discrimination. When there's a discrimination, there is a choice. That's why I'm going in this direction. So the other alternative. So one side is lose the freedom, but you get the freedom of constantly making choices for God. The other side is we take initiative to say what needs to be done. Is this person pleased or is this person not pleased? Uh, how is it that it can help me better? So the other side of it is we constantly come up with saying, can my experience improve over a period of time? That's something that we strive for. And one is very much aware of one's experience and one tries to reconcile it with what is it that the Shastras are trying to give, right? So when one is trying to give it with what the Shastra is trying to give, at that point in time, one recognizes, hey, am I on the right path or the wrong path? One tries to take the help of other devotees to say, I'm trying to do this, but it's not happening. Am I missing something? Sometimes one may not even get from devotees. One will try to see there could be some answer in a scripture. One reads scripture to figure out, am I missing something here? And then Krishna speaks through the pages of the scripture to address what we lack. So when a person in the other side, there is one side is person just tries for liberation. The other side is a person ceases to aspire for liberation. And instead, such a person, he just prays for the opportunity to engage in devotional service birth after birth. Okay. So this is where so this one point, the key point that I wanted to bring about here is being open to make choices and being open to learn is an important aspect of growing in awareness. Number one. And number two is do not treat spiritual life as just some outcome. I have to do something and get out and become a liberated person. It is a process. Be happy with the process. One of the things that happens again with awareness is sometimes we use our awareness to somehow or the other bring the attention, like what I said in the beginning, to bring our attention onto our own self. And it goes to such an extent that I have value only if somebody else gives me an attention. What we need to come to the stage is we have to be comfortable in being finite. That I know only so much, I'm capable of so much, but I will strive for improvement. When one has this inner consciousness this way, then growth happens. With that growth, awareness and intelligence expands. What does it mean to be comfortable in being finite? It means there is no guilt. Oh, I'm so bad. There is no envy. Oh, they're so good. I'm not so good. Right? So what striving for improvement is that there is some change that can happen in what I'm doing to the world around me or even to myself. And I'll try for that. And I'll try to see is it in aligned to the scriptures. So growth, so being aware and being intelligent means that being comfortable in being finite and yet wanting to go for improvement. That is there. If somebody thinks that, how come everybody else is so intelligent already? We need to be clear that in this world, everybody is finite. Nobody can be infinitely intelligent or infinitely aware. Maybe they have something more than us. That's there. But the journey of 1,000 steps starts with a single step. And we need to start that at some point in time. I'll pause here. I may want to say a little bit more, but any thoughts on this or any critique on it?
Prabhu, when you said about emotional awareness leads to spiritual awareness, I didn't catch how did you cover this point, or I didn't catch the connection there.
Okay, I didn't elaborate it.
Prabhu.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, Prabhu. So while elaborate, can you please give example also the awareness part and so just give some examples for us to understand more clear. Yes, please continue.
Okay. I mean, many examples are running in my mind. I don't know how to say those. Maybe I don't know whether I'm saying this right or wrong. I mean, please don't circulate this video too far and wide.
Prabhu, I think in between some devotees are raising hands. So maybe you want to hear from them also, and then you.
Sure. Okay. If somebody's raised their hands, fine. I'm fine.
Nilima Mataji, Mile Prabhu. Yes, Nilima Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, I understood what you told, but I'm just relating, can you please make it easier and relate it to the question? I totally get what you're saying, but I'm just relating myself to past days when what you would say would be like I have to think later on so much that how is this answer to my question? So if you can make it easier.
Thank you, Mata. Thank you, Nilima Mataji, for asking this question.
I would say one thing. You have an ability to make things easier. Why can you help me to make it easier, Mataji?
Prabhu, I might have got it very wrong, so please you.
No, it's okay. But give a shot at it. Just go ahead.
Prabhu, I think I put myself in soup.
No. I think you would be able to see, since you have figured out that it's a little complicated what I said. Maybe you said you did understand. I definitely Krishna would have given you the ability to make it simple. Please elaborate.
So you'll correct me, Prabhu. So if I'm telling what, if I'm putting my own thoughts and it is not what you're saying.
No problem. Just go ahead. No problem. Go ahead.
So I'm essentially getting some 4-5 points from what you said, that um, we should be ready to experiment with what we are having right now in front of us in the form of association and make our choices. It's if I take initiation example, it's not like we should get initiated and then we get that okay next uh, the next step is done, like from 10th standard we have to next get into some degree and then get some PhD, like that. It is not like that okay, now first initiation, or we have cleared the bhakti steps, then get initiated, then second initiation. It's not like that, but we take initiation when we are ready. So it should not be like we compare with other person, but we have to see if we are um, satisfied or our questions are getting clarified. We have to take the initiative in progressing in Krishna consciousness. We have to be bold to do that. There is and we have to take while and when we are taking choices in the freedom, we should also be aware that we don't move much further. That is one thing I'm getting, Prabhu. And
Mataji, I just got distracted for a minute. Just the last sentence that you said. Can you just repeat it, please? I'm noting it down.
oh, I'm just thinking. Actually, this was my question. I put it in the last thing. So we should use our freedom. Freedom is good. We should use our freedom, and we should be also aware that we should not. We should not be afraid of using our freedom and choices in trying to understand the spirituality and be honest. But where do we draw a line that we don't go far? So I'm bringing in my things, Prabhu. So I'll stop.
Okay. Fine. Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Vinodini also has something to summarize. And Harisham, I got your question. I'll come to it. Vinodini, you wanted to summarize.
Vilay Prabhu has some quick comment to share. Vilay Prabhu or Sonali Mataji?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Vilay Prabhu. Sonali Mataji, can you come closer to the microphone? Your voice is very faint.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So my question is same like what Harisham Prabhu asked, and I was when you were telling this, I was remembering the Jadabharata story. So where I was thinking ki we don't need intelligence to be connected with the Supreme Lord. So like is it like if we feel that we are intelligent, so we should use our intelligence in the way like how Nilima Mataji summarized it. So yeah, this is
Okay.
the word.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Vinodini, let me hear from Vinod.
Some thoughts on what my husband said, which was difficult for some of you to understand, is our learning is mostly dependent on our childhood, the way we were taught and the ways we followed in the past. But to break that pattern, even now it is not late. We can still, without feeling guilty that I am so bad or without feeling envious about others, we can take active steps, proactive steps in how I can be better. That is what is this key thing. How can I improve when dealing with others? So we need to be proactive in thinking, not be passive listener, but rather take notes and be proactive in how we can apply this or use this to others in various ways.
That's a small aspect there. But let me come to the question, Harisham Prabhu, you said emotional awareness. maybe one or two examples will help. Recently, after visiting Bangalore, His Holiness Rompad Maharaj went to Singapore. And in Singapore, when my wife was speaking to one of the devotees there, the point that devotee was saying is, "Oh, Maharaj is so accessible. There are so many devotees here. He would come and he would ask us questions. He would spend time with us, etc." Did it? And her understanding or that devotee's understanding is in Bangalore, it was not that way. But when in the house in which he stayed, he would come out and he would ask questions. All those things would happen. And because they felt Maharaj is very accessible, they had also kept programs, morning, afternoon, evening, everything. They had done all those programs there. And one of those days, it so happened there were back-to-back programs in some place. And at the age of 77 or so, traveling from one time zone to another time zone is not easy. So after one program and before the next program, what did he do? He just asked, "Can I just go to the office?" It was a small temple. He said, "Can I go to the office?" And so he went to the office and he closed the door and he lied down on the floor and he took a rest because he was feeling jet lagged, body was tired, etc. And this is one may say, this is the emotional/situational awareness. On one hand, we can feel happy that, hey, Maharaj is speaking to me and I can speak whatever I want. Such a elevated disciple of Srila Prabhupada is there for me. But we also have to see what is it that is helpful for the other individual. And this is something that we need to learn by observation, that in the past, what has his daily routine be? Does he take rest during the day? Does he need time for something else? So let me not schedule programs so that it becomes overwhelming. So this is that one aspect of that awareness. And when somebody may say, "Oh, this is just being situationally aware," where is the emotional aspect of it? The emotional aspect of it is, I like him to be happy in doing what he wants to do. That is one aspect of this emotional awareness. And that's the core part of being emotionally connected, is understanding the likes of the other person. Similar, I'm just giving another example here, just so that it can be relatable to you. There are many examples running in my mind, but just something that can come here. When Maharaj was again here in Bangalore, there was a day when he had 4 hours time, and we could have scheduled it to him meet completely with meeting devotees back to back. But somehow we also sensed that he was having a lot of backlog in catching up with his mail. And so I said, "Maharaj, we will just do half an hour of meeting and then you can do what you want." And he said, "Yes, that's fine. That's good." So these are the examples of that kind of emotional awareness. That's one with respect to others. Then comes emotional awareness with respect to scriptures. If you hear carefully what Maharaj is speaking in the classes, or anybody else, any nice devotee, when you hear them speaking, they connect to the mood or the inner feelings of the characters that we are reading. It's not just he did this, she did that, and that's it. It's because we need to connect to the feelings of the characters in the scripture, or the personalities or the persons in the scripture, because that feeling drives us much more than knowing what to do and what not to do. In times of when there are challenging times, we easily give up what to do and what not to do. But when there are feelings, we live for a long time with those feelings. We, just like a mother, when the mother likes the child, a newborn child may be waking up with at whatever time at night, etc. The mother is very tired, and yet it is that feeling of the child due to which the mother continues to wake up in the night and feed the child and all of that stuff, right? So part of this emotional awareness here that you did ask about is uh, that the scriptures allow us to know a myriad of feelings that come in an individual, and we try to relate to that individual at that feeling level and then spiritualize it further to go to the next level. Of course, in the case of great devotees like acharyas, we don't say that I am trying to take that individual to a higher level, because they are far more capable of that than we can do anything. But in relation to our family members, and those who are dependent on us, we have to connect to their feelings. And one of the other emotional, one of 725, maybe this is another topic for another day. But do you get this point here, or would you like me to elaborate further, Harisham?
No, bro, it is very, very nice, very clear. Maybe I would also like to hear more about it, but maybe some other time.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm able to understand like how emotional awareness leads to more spiritual awareness.
And one of the things that blocks emotional awareness is what I had elaborated a lot. The focus on the goal rather than the process blocks emotions. That's a part of it, that which is what I wanted to avoid. But before I stop here, Sharbari Mataji, you wanted to say something? Are you there? No, she's not there. Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Maybe you have a question or you think I told something incorrectly. You can tell that so that becomes a food for thought for later.
I have one question we can actually discuss tomorrow. It's very quickly, I will just say. When we have limited intelligence, we have limited understanding, and it can be even the wrong intelligence and wrong understanding. With that, when we are making choices, how far we can be in the circumference of right?
The answer is simple, Mataji. Until we, like a child, we even though we are all adults in big bodies, etc., we need to cross check with somebody else. It is true that we will, most of the times we make choices based on our vasanas, the some total of impression that we have received from all the previous births. When I say most of the times, it is 99.9%. It is only 0.1% of the time we make a decision based on our spiritual guidelines. So it is very important to be accountable to somebody and say, these are the big three choices that I had to make, and this was the reasoning I did. And when one does this aspect of going to somebody to whom we are accountable to, saying, these are the big three things I'm doing, I'm trying to do it this way, then the connection to the devotee also increases. So accountability increases connection to devotees, which increases our dependence on devotees, which then makes us finally do take the right choices. It's not about the choice itself; it's the process of making the choice.
Okay. Thank you,
Yes.
Prabhu. I have something to add, but I think we'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, sure.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shyam Prabhu, I just have like one thing if you'd like to consider. So it's 7:29. So and the lecture we have finished. How about, and I also feel that you have something more to add what you have told today. So how about
Tomorrow I'll be in the train, Prabhu. I'm going with.
Okay. Yes. So, Vilay Prabhu and Yugal Kishore Prabhu have something to share. Would you like to take these questions, Prabhu, or you have something else to do for now?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have a couple of points from Shyam Kun Prabhu's question, rather. When Shyam Kun Prabhu mentioned about American culture about dating and all the stuff.
Yeah, go
So,
ahead.
so how is that? It's because it should not be taken out of context, and tomorrow onwards,
Correct.
everybody's on that things. Oh, let's Shamkuna Prabhu said that, and we should do that, or we should not do that. So, I would like to hear more on that. And the second thing, when you just now mentioned answer to Mataji's question, Shweta Mataji's question, taking 99% for decision, there are some points that if sometimes what happens, we become so dependent on decision on authority that and we don't take a responsibility of our own decision, and we say that because I took a decision because he asked me to do that. And recently, one youth boy was asking me that whether I should get married or not married. So I was saying that this is the plus and this is the minus, but it is you. You have to take a decision because you will be accountable for your that. But at the same time, we cannot become completely independent that we are not even in line with the authority. So how to be, and also there will be some situation in the life where you do not have a choice or time that to take a opinion from the authority, you have to take instantly a decision. For example, maybe like just now World Cup is over, you are in the middle of the pitch and then you have to hit six or you have to take one run. So you have to take a decision on there. You cannot ask coach there.
Correct.
So how to be balanced, right? That we are in line with the authority, but at the same time, when time comes, you have to take decision on your own. And also third, that you are accountable. You means we are accountable. The person who is taking out the decision is accountable for the decision that he has taken for himself rather than blaming other person.
Correct. Nice. I maybe I'll just add, say, two quick things, and the details will go later. When you use the word authority, it effectively distances us from the other person. It means somebody is going to decide for us. That word, I mean, even in our consciousness, when the word authority is there, it's in one sense limiting. It's good to have, like, even what sometimes we may consider our own guru as an authority, but that is such a very limiting word, because the guru functions by love, not by position. So you can choose any other word for it. That's okay. But
thank you. Thank you.
That's just one part of it. Second is, you said very rightly that so what you said was one of the points I tried to make too, that people want to put the responsibility of their decisions on somebody else. You said, so I am doing it. And that behavior is actually the root of the Kanishta behavior. The Kanishta behavior is, I do not want to build relationships with people. You tell me a method, I will go for the method. Okay, there is a deity, I will worship the deity. Okay, there is a mantra, I'm going to chant the mantra. Okay, there is a procedure, I will do morning, afternoon, evening, these kind of shlokas or these prayers I'm going to recite. That is the Kanishta mentality, where person doesn't come into the picture at all. And invisibly, the thing here is, the person who has given this is perfect. I am following it, and I will not trust anybody else because you're all not perfect. So when people come to us for responsibility, innate in them is saying, prove to me you are perfect. Since if you prove to me that you are perfect, then I will trust you and do what you say. But if I see even an iota, even a little bit of imperfection in you, I don't trust you, because I want guaranteed outcomes. And that is a route for people to not have relationships at all. That's there. So you brought the right point, that this is not the way we should go. That is correct. We should be responsible for our decisions, and we get guidelines from somebody. And very important for us is to know that the path of spirituality is one of discovery. Everybody finds different things to discover. They'll discover different aspects of Krishna, the different aspects of Srimati Radharani. And that is why it is said, when Srimad Bhagavatam is spoken by a devotee, it is even more sweet. It is sweeter because Krishna is infinite. Every devotee who discovers something in Bhagavatam from the core of their heart, they access that sweetness. So you may access one sweetness, Neelima Mataji will want one thing, Dheeraj Prabhu will be another thing. And me, who's listening to all of this, will still find, oh yeah, it's so nice. Because I cannot get infinite. I cannot experience infinity, but I can experience portions of that infinity through multiple devotees. That's there. So that leads to finally to the point that you asked. When we try to make decisions, we are on the field. So how do we do it? On the field, nothing. We cannot do anything. We have to hit the 6 or hit the 4 by ourselves. But it is during the coaching time that we'll have to ask. And after we hit the 6 or hit the 4 on the field, we come back to the coach and ask, do you think that was right or wrong? Was that defensive shot right or wrong? So reflection is also an important point there. So reflection and preparation before the match. Does that help, Prabhu?
I think that is very nice, because that coaching period is what we are trained. Then we go back, execute that, and then again come back whether that decision was appropriate or was something would have done better.
Yeah.
Reflection is very nice. Coming to the dating stuff, now today we are following in the. I'll just add a couple of more points and then you please answer.
Yes,
today
I'll take notes.
We are following the Western world, and every now and then all those celebrities, they are doing what that is like, with today with one, tomorrow with someone, and that is something against our Vedic culture. So I would like to hear on those particular lines, Prabhu.
Okay, sure. Sure. Maybe Monday or something like that too.
Absolutely, no problem. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Yeah. 7:37.
Thank you so much, Shyam.
Yeah, Sonali Mataji, you have something to share? I know we are over time, but still you can go ahead, Mataji.
I'll post it in the group.
Sure. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, devotees, for your kind patience today and be part of the discussion. We will resume tomorrow again. Thank you, Shamkun Prabhu, and all the devotees who added the points. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.